know. I said I'm not allowed to say that. Yeah, I stole her festive greeting. But welcome to the last ever Friday Facebook session of 2020. We feel like we've done so many of these. We started in March. Was it end of March, beginning of April when we started them? So
we were only going to do it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly. We were going to do it for a few weeks, stop the lockdown boredom, and here we are. It's December. It's the last one of the year. This time next week, Christmas Day will be nearly over. I know, all that prep. Anyway, we're not here to moan about Christmas. We did that plenty on Monday on Shooting the Shit. Today, we are here to talk about your marketing strategy for 2021. So, quick reminder, this is the new look FFS. This is half an hour, 5 top tips ready to get you sorted, actionable things that you can take away and start to do and put into practice for next year. So we have 5 top tips for how to do your marketing strategy, and we will go through them obviously one by one. What a revolutionary plan that is. Number 1 on our list, plan for a year of 2 halves. Simon Dalley, this was your point. What did you mean by that?
So we're going to have a year where we're obviously still going to have lots of the kind of COVID restrictions in place in the first half of the year. Hopefully by the middle of the year, the vaccine should be rolling out and people will be more active. So it will probably, the way that people buy things will change during the year. So
do you think so? So I mean, what you're getting at is that essentially we will go back to normal. We'll go back to how we were pre-COVID from kind of the midway through 2021. Do you think that that's true, that we'll all go back straight away to working in offices, buying from shops, or do you think that a seal has broken, so to speak, and we'll
How are you making that dirty? Are you thinking of like a hymen or something? Come on,
no,
mate.
It's when you've drunk 12 pints, isn't it? When you drink 12 pints on a night out, and then all of a sudden you spend the last 3 hours doing nothing but going to the loo. Anyway,
that isn't what I meant, by the way. I don't necessarily think that we'll all go back to normal, no. But I think that there will be a point in the year where lots of people will be vaccinated, and there'll be a change in mood, and that it will be important strategically to think about the year as potentially having those 2 halves, and
so how
psychologically that changes the way that we talk, to communicate with people, changes the type of activity that we might potentially want to put out, and also the way that the people's buying habits will change. They from a consumer perspective, the amount of money that they've got in the pocket will change in terms of the proportion that they spend online versus offline. It's just worth.
Do we think that I think you're absolutely right in terms of that psychological switch in terms of how people are going to think about things. Do we think that there's going to be a massive boost to the economy as we come out of kind of COVID restrictions? Do we think people are going to go mad, or do we think there's still going to be a big lag on effect, because some people have had months on 80% of wages? It's been a really fucking tough year for a lot of people. How do you think that change in the way people think is going to implement itself?
I mean, it's going to coincide with slightly warmer weather, so we'll be kind of going into the summer months, and that will naturally.
This is obviously for people that don't live in Rossendale.
Yeah, that'll naturally will encourage people to go out and about a bit more. I don't think it will have a massive impact on the amount of money that people spend, and I think you're right. We'll probably still have downturn. People still won't be spending in the same way that they were or would have done that in the same time last year. And I think we can look at what happened between the end of lockdown 1 and the start of lockdown 2 to give us some indication of what's going to happen. I don't think people are going to go mad, but I expect there will be a distinct change in buying behaviour.
Brexit as well, isn't there? So Brexit is going to hit us. I mean, a no deal is still looking incredibly likely, which means there's going to be a big negative impact on the finances of people in the country. And I think as well, there'll probably be quite a shift of attitudes again. So people will be holidaying more in the UK because of COVID. Might be a more kind of hey ho, we're British kind of attitude going on. So I think combination of Brexit and COVID, they're both such uncertainties right now. I think it's to plan your marketing for the first at least 6 months as if we're in Brexit hell and COVID hell.
I think the impact of Brexit's going to be hard to work unless we have like a really proper no deal, which it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It looks like there's enough, even if it's a no deal Brexit, there's going to be enough small kind of agreements in place that it's not going to be dramatic at the turn of the year. However, I think that the impact of Brexit's going to be felt probably more in the end of the year, if not the start of the 2022, that type of thing.
Okay, I don't want us to go too much further into that, but essentially, I think that the key point there is just remain agile. The 2021 is going to be a year with a lot of changes, fast changing situations, and businesses. I think if there's one thing any of us have learned over 2020, it's that the agile businesses are the ones that will survive. So your marketing strategy needs to be as agile and responsive as the rest of your business to the changing situations. Okay, number 2.2 for your marketing strategy for 2021: produce better and more varied content. Hannah, what do we mean by this one?
So it's no secret that video is a kind of content juggernaut, but also audio has come on a long way. In 2020, there was something like 70% more, what do you call them, podcasts started. Thank you. Podcasts started because people are bored, and actual copywriting, blog writing and stuff has always been valuable and continues to be so. So I think just think about the sort of content that you're generating for your business and expand on that, and think about new mediums that you can go into.
Yeah, I think the key thing to remember here is that TikTok has really shaken up the what we call more traditional social networks, hasn't it? And it has, it's where most people under the age of 15 kind of live on TikTok at the moment, don't they? But so many people I know recently, like grown-ups, people in their 30s, 40s and 50s, have suddenly started going on TikTok, making videos. Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn, Twitter, they have got to compete with that. And that is why video is becoming so crucial. And in 2021, it will be even more so. And, you will see videos will have the potential to reach so many more people than your traditional text posts. And you're absolutely right. Podcasts have just exploded over the last year, haven't they? So, yeah, people need to think about just shake your content up a bit. Not a lot of people are consuming their content by sitting down with their phones or their tablets anymore and reading. They are listening to a podcast whilst they're doing the cleaning or mucking out the horses or decorating, so you have got to grab people's attention in a much more busy market. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to create content that does that? Dalley, anything to add on that?
I think as well, when you are creating written content, just bear in mind the rise of voice. So, most people have got an Alexa or a Google Home Hub or whatever. So when you're writing your content, be aware of the sorts of media that people are going to be consuming your content on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah, that is really important. Yeah, and ask and answer the questions that people are going to be asking into their Alexa devices. That's really important. Dalley?
Yeah, I think it's just the shift in technology. How much better kind of the internet connectivity's got, smartphones, all the rest of it. We're all able to the part of the reason that lots of businesses have been slow to produce videos and all the rest of it, is that quite often they were really difficult to access and view, and you couldn't watch them on your devices. But now we're all in an era now where you can do all that. You can get that content really easily. I would never have kind of watched how-to videos 5 years ago, and now it's now I'm finding myself increasingly going to YouTube to find answers to things, rather than reading.
My wife so cross, things like that.
What's that?
Why is my wife so cross?
Yes. But I think we all access different types of content. There is still a place for every different type of content, and we're all accessing increasingly diverse amounts of content. So it's important that businesses have a mix of all those different types of content and are able to be found in all those places. So podcasts, videos.
I think as well,
written content as well.
Sorry, Dalley, to cut you off.
That's all right.
You're just really boring. No,
I don't know where I'm going with it,
I think as well, TikTok has just been like the hero of 2020, hasn't it? And podcasts, because people have felt so isolated and disconnected. It's been a way of bringing your friends and people from all around the world into your living room or whatever, and being kind of a community, even though you've got to be apart. And I think that plays into what we were saying on point 1, where you need to plan for a year of 2 halves. Your content should be focusing in the first half of maintaining that kind of sense of togetherness if you want to play into the COVID thing. And that is kind of worldwide video content that's easily shareable, easy to digest, easy to access, has a wide reach.
And you have very nicely, Hannah, led us on to point 3 there. So this is your 5 top tips for creating your marketing strategy for 2021. Point 1, plan for a year of 2 halves. Be flexible, be agile. Point 2, produce better and more creative content. Point 3, be more entertaining than you are educational. Why is that so important?
Who?
Well, either of you, Hannah.
And your name, or we can't function, Hannah. Because there is so much content, there is so much out there, and if you're not being, the Bobby Dazzler, then why would anybody watch it? And with the best will in the world, your product or your service is so interesting to you and a handful of people, but it's not massively to everybody else. So you need to be as entertaining or more entertaining than you are educational. So yes, do those educational pieces like this, but be more entertaining in either other channels or whilst you're educating.
Yeah, and it comes back to that, exactly what you just said, Hannah. TikTok has shown us through lockdown, and even, I don't know whether TikTok would have done what it's done regardless of lockdown anyway. But the point of TikTok is that they produce these short videos that you can have a little bit of fun of doing, and it's a challenge, even though it's not really challenging. But it's fun and it's engaging, and you can get your family together and do something silly, and you can send it to your friends and get them involved and do something silly. That's what people are looking for. I was reading a really interesting article the other day about the brands that have succeeded most in 2020. Big, massive brands, Pepsi and McDonald's and stuff. And the ones that have grown the most and succeeded the most in terms of their marketing are the ones that have just been silly or been funny. There was an article as well by what's that new marketing thing called Brands Against Mundanity, and they were saying about how important it is to have a sense of humor and to just get involved. Stop thinking about it in the old-fashioned terms of advertising and start just getting in amongst people and creating things that are shareable and that people can get involved in, something that's going to make them laugh. Again, if you look at the type of content that people share, It is stuff that amuses them, that makes them laugh, and that educates people about something that they like. So you've got to appeal to what they're interested in. It's not about you. It's not about standing there. You might have the best product in the world. It might be the most reasonably priced. You might be the world's leading expert in your field, but nobody cares about that because, you know, Boris down the road is doing a funny TikTok video, so you're going to buy your carpet from him. So,
well, they do care, but not at this point of engagement. So that's the point, isn't it? So tailor your content to the point of engagement that you're targeting. So yeah,
that's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, market for your funnel. Dally, anything to add on the importance of being entertaining?
No, I think you guys covered it there.
Yeah, and Liz has put as well. Hi, Liz. You know, entertaining as well. It gets your personality and your values across. And I know I've said this a million times. I say it to everybody. One of the main pages on anyone's website when I'm auditing them is the About Us page. People want to know when they start to engage with a company, who are the people? Do they look like my kind of people? Do they look like if I've got a problem, I can pick the phone up and they will sort it out? The only way you can get across your personality as a company is by, you know, having good photographs, creating little videos, add some personality into your brand. That's what's going to sell it. That's what's going to hook people in. So yeah, it is so important, so important. And people forget it. People say to us all the time, don't they, like, oh, I don't want my face on the website. You know, let's put a picture of our latest factory machine. You know, how bloody boring is that? You know, bore off.
That's important as well. I think
it has a place. It has a place.
Part of it is that professionalism, the kind of that tacit understanding of what professionalism is changing.
Yeah, that's a really important point, I think. Yeah,
and it's about keeping up with that. It's almost putting content out that doesn't make you look like you think it's 2007.
Yeah. Do you know what as well? I mean, Leon, I do occasionally, Leon is 11, our son, I do occasionally listen to him, but he whitters on about, like he loves cars, supercars and Mercedes and stuff like that. He loves all that stuff. And what he engages with that brand is kind of behind the scenes stuff. So videos about how they created this latest thing, and that generation, they don't just want to see the polished advert that you put out. They want to see what goes on behind the scenes. Why did you create this? What's the passion behind it? What are you trying to do? How does it compare to everything else that's out there? That's the angle that they're interested in. You're absolutely right, Dally. It's not about, yes, professionalism is important, but how we perceive professionalism is massively changing thanks to social media, and brands have to be able to respond to that, don't they?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, right. So, how to create top 5 tips for creating your marketing strategy. The cat is sat on my notebook. Number 1, plan for a year of 2 hard. Be flexible and adaptable. Number 2, produce better and more varied content. Number 3, be as, if not more, entertaining than you are educational. Number 4, automate. Simon Dalley, this is your point. Why should people start automating?
Well, I mean, businesses should have started automating a long time ago, but I think with all the previous points that we've said, we're creating more content, we're creating better content, and in order to make all that content work and work hard, it's got to be put into automation funnels, and
and what do you mean by automated? What are you talking about when you say automation funnels?
So every touch point that you have with how can I put this? So there are, say somebody makes an inquiry with a business, then ordinarily in the olden days, say they would I don't know, make a phone call or something like that, whatever it would be, and then that you'd follow that up with a salesperson. They might send out some brochures, then they might give them a call, or they might go out to see them, however it might be. But what we want to do is make sure that we're giving them relevant content that replaces a salesperson or a marketing message, or whatever that might whatever that might be, at the right time with the right kind of content. We're creating loads of content, so we need to be using it more.
I mean, people
still haven't used automation in the processes yet.
People get really scared when you start talking about automation. People get really, I don't mean you specifically, people, when one generally starts talking about automation, people get really scared because they think that you mean, bots, or, those chat bots that are on websites that give you people or did give people an awful kind of experience. People think you're going to get, like, when you friend somebody on LinkedIn and you get that automated message, or people think it's depersonalizing. People think it takes away that kind of human connection that you need to make with a potential buyer. But it's come on an awful lot, this technology, hasn't it, Hannah?
Yeah.
There's a place for automated chatbots as well,
But automated chatbots have come on massively. Again, people think it's just a standard thing, but they're learning, aren't they? They're learning algorithms, so they will learn how you respond specifically to things.
But I think, we're talking about replacing the different marketing touch points that you need in a sales journey.
Does this need to cost a fortune?
No, and that's the other benefit of it. So it did used to cost a fortune. But now if you've got like a WordPress website, you can just get plugins that do it. Do it for you.
Like entry level HubSpot stuff. There's quite a few.
I mean, there's free plugins now that do similar jobs to things like HubSpot or Marketo or any of those big things. You don't need to spend a fortune anymore.
I think
you don't need to spend 6 months setting them up like you used to.
No. And I think sometimes it's as well, if you are going to go down the automation route, I've seen people that have, I've had an automated response back and they've been upfront about it. They've said, started the message with, look, I know this is an automated response. It's an automated response, but, follow this process and let's have a conversation or whatever. So, be honest about what you're doing. It doesn't have to be impersonal. Okay, so your marketing strategy for 2021, number 1, plan for a year of 2 halves and be flexible and responsive. Number 2, produce better, more varied content. Number 3, be as, if not more, entertaining than you are educational. Number 4, automate as much as you can where you can to streamline your processes and make everything manageable. Number 5, analyze as you go and review. Hannah, this is your point. Tell us more.
Well, we say this every time. This point crops up every time, and it will continue to do so. You can't have a plan. You can't have a destination if you don't know how you're going to get there. So, like a top tip for doing your marketing strategy for 2021 is make a plan, write down some goals, some KPIs, and analyze as you're going along if you're achieving them, and if not, how far off are you, and see what's working and what's not, and do less of what's not and more of what is. So don't be afraid to adjust your plan. If you've got this beautifully worked out strategy, but half of it is totally ineffective or costing you too much money or whatever, then don't keep doing it. Then you'll never know that if you don't continuously review and analyze.
And also be prepared to react to that, because quite often when you've put a plan in place, you can know it's not working for quite a long time before you actually do anything about it, because you're kind of sat there thinking, I need to give this enough time to run to give it a chance to work, and also because in quite a lot of businesses, marketing strategies and plans have been debated by so many other people. They have big impacts on lots of other things, and you can find yourself sat there going, I can't change this now. I can't react to it, and so you've got to kind of get out of that mindset.
I think
look at what the data says and act on it. Sorry.
Carry on.
There you go.
Sorry, Dalley.
No, you're right.
I think also there's a fear, isn't there? If I'm not doing this, I'm not doing anything. Like if I don't send out an email, like if I don't send out an email newsletter, then that's literally all I'm doing. Even though it's not working, at least I feel like I'm doing something and I have a bit of control over it. And I think if you're doing something and it's not actually bringing you anything, it's not working. So stop and ring someone who can tell you what you should be doing, like us, or go on some training or do some research or talk to some colleagues or whatever, but don't just keep, flogging a dead horse.
I think this is a really, really crucial point, because I know, we've talked about the cult of the planning that's kind of arisen this year. And there's been an awful lot of this, do this plan, do this. Your plan doesn't have to be, your plan can literally be some scribblings on a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be really, really intricate. You just need to get some ideas down, say, right, this month I'm going to try this, this and this. I'm going to see which of these works. Whichever works, I'll carry forward. If that doesn't work, I'm going to try this, this and this. And just because everybody else is doing something doesn't mean it's the right thing for you. You can try it, absolutely, by all means, you try everything. If it doesn't work for you and your customers, and it's not right, and it's taking you too long, or it's not getting you enough ROI, stop it and do something else. There are so many marketing strategies that people can try, and until you test them out, you don't know which one is right for you and your audience. So, yes, try them, but never be afraid to say, actually, this isn't working for me. I've done it. I've given it a good shot. I've tried it for 6 weeks, 2 months, whatever. I'm going to try something else. And just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean you have to do it.
That's the thing. Just because it's working for your competitors, or just because it's worked for a company that you used to work for, or it worked 6 months ago, it doesn't mean to say it's always going to keep working in the same way. So, don't feel like you have to be where your competitors are always, because you might have a different target audience, you might have a different reach, you might, there's so many variables. This is why you never get a straight answer out of us anyway. Why we always say it depends, because it really does depend. And
genuinely does depend.
Yeah, you have to give it a go, and crucially, if it's not working, stop.
And I think that
another thing as well to consider is diminishing returns. So every marketing tactic, strategy, everything that you do has diminishing returns. So quite often, another thing that you can find yourself doing is you've done something once that works in the past, and it starts becoming less effective, but you then try to perfect it, because you're always trying to get back to the one time that it really worked well, where you don't consider, well, it was just going to work that one time, because that's the law of averages.
The moons are in alignment at that time.
Less effective.
I think the main key thing, and we are almost up to time, so we'll end with our final top tips now. But I think the main thing for me as well is, whilst we've given you these top 5 tips to how to plan out your marketing strategy, the key thing to remember is that the planning of the marketing strategy is the least bit of work that you need to do. Don't spend 3 months writing out the perfect marketing strategy for 2021. It's more important that you do the marketing and that you just get it started and just try it. Like I say, this strategy could literally be 5 bullet points that you put down on a piece of paper, and that's, just crack on and do it, and then amend it as you go. But Hannah's right.
Like, don't feel like you have to have a strategy. Just pick, if you don't want to combine plenty of different methods, just pick one and do it really well. We always say this: do one thing well. What is the expression from Parks and Rec? Don't half-arse 2 things, whole-arse 1 thing.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so that's it. These are our top 5 tips. How to do your marketing strategy for 2021. Think about 2021 as a year of 2 halves. Be responsive and be flexible, and make sure you are able to adjust as situations change, because none of us know what the bloody hell's coming up. Number 2, produce better and more varied content. Don't just do text blogs. We want images, we want infographics, we want videos, we want podcasts. Everybody consumes content in a different way. So make sure you are doing it in as varied a way as you possibly can. Number 3, be as, if not more, entertaining than you are educational. It's all about entertainment these days. That's literally it. People want to be entertained. They need the education piece. So all of that information needs to be on your website so that people who reach the bottom of the funnel can make that buyer decision. But you need to grab people's attention in a very crowded marketplace first. Number 4, automate where you can. It will save you time, it will save you money, and if you can't do something, get somebody in who can. It's the best business lesson I've ever learned is just, you know, put your resources where they are going to be best used. And number 5, review and analyze your plan. Use your analytics, all of the analytical tools, review what's working, ditch the things that aren't, do more of the things that are, try new things, just shake it up and keep reviewing it. A strategy should never be a static thing. So Hannah, final top tip on those. If you were to give people one piece of advice on how to execute that, what would it be?
Oh, fucking hell, that's putting me on the spot, isn't it? Come back to me, Dalley.
Right. Dalley, what's yours?
No idea.
All right. Well, mine is just do it. Don't spend ages agonizing over it. Just get on with it and do it. You can improve it as you go. Anyone got anything to add?
I think just to echo what you said earlier, ask for help. Most people, especially us, but most people will just give you some pointers in the right direction. So if you want some help in the new year, ring us. We'll be happy to help you.
And also, you know, you use Facebook groups, use LinkedIn groups. People are more than happy to help people. If you don't know the answer to something, ask a question on your LinkedIn profile, find a Facebook group and put it in there. People will answer you and will give you really good advice as well. And it's all for free. So, you know.
I think just do.
Very quickly, Simon Dalley.
Yeah,
very quickly.
Just thinking about what we said though. I don't want us to come across like we think strategizing and planning isn't important, because it is really important, you know, especially as things become more complicated and as they get bigger. It's important to have thought things through, because you can find that you just end up doing a lot of, you know, because there's so many moving parts, it does have to come together. It doesn't have to be thought about.
Well, we have just spent half an hour telling people that they need to plan. So I think we've got across the point that we think it's important. Final question, Simon Dalley. Rob Buckley has asked, where do you see selfies going in 2021? Will you be doing more of them?
All over my Facebook profile.
Yeah, there we go. You can never have enough selfies, can you? That's it. Our last one for 2020. Have a lovely time, everybody, over the Christmas holidays. We will see you all in 2020.